Well, the first lady goes down again to Jessica McCaskill. Let's talk about it. What's going on, fight fans? I'm actually sitting here watching the fight live instead of doing the video the next day. The fight just ended, getting ready for the Gonzalez Estrada rematch. But it was Cecilia Braekhus going down for a second time to Jessica McCaskill. Let me start off by saying that I got this fight wrong. I picked Cecilia, and I picked her by unanimous decision. But Jessica gets the decision. Be honest, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm gonna have to get you all's opinion to maybe change my opinion. But the fight I just watched, number one, I didn't honestly think Cecilia lost the fight. And two, I definitely don't think she lost it by that big of a margin. I mean, one judge had Jessica winning every single round. Let's start with some pros and cons. Let me start with Cecilia first. The pros would be, I like the fact that she was a little more, well, I'm not going to say a little, she was much more aggressive than she was in her first fight. This fight had much more action than the first fight had. I like the fact that she was trying to establish her jab. I like the fact that she was throwing that straight right hand. I like the uppercuts that she was throwing. And I like the fact that she was trying to throw harder punches, and she seemed like she maybe wanted to at least knock Jessica down one time in the fight. The cons would be head movement. Cecilia did not show a lot of head movement. I mean, she walked into some of those looping right hands that Jessica was throwing. She actually did that in the first fight too, and she did the same thing here. And another con would be body work. Cecilia did not do enough body work. I thought that maybe when Jessica was lunging in and coming forward, that was a perfect time to maybe hit her with one or two to the body. And also, too, I thought that it's as skilled as a boxer as Cecilia is, she could have taken advantage of Jessica doing all of that lunging in and maybe call her off balance and hit her with a shot to maybe get a knockdown. For Jessica, the pros and the cons would be Jessica fought pretty much the same fight that she fought the first fight. She knew that the way for her to win this fight was to rough Cecilia up, and that's what she tried to do. She was lunging, coming forward, kind of remind me of Ricardo Mayorga in a way. She reminds me of the female version of that, where she's coming forward, throwing that right hand, but it's a looping right hand. And she was also looping the left hands. But as far as the cons would go is I didn't like the fact that Jessica was really throwing one punch, lunging in and then ducking really low. And then Cecilia would put her elbow on her head because that's what happens when somebody is naturally lower than you, which is what caused the ref to keep telling Cecilia that she was holding. But I don't think that Cecilia was actually holding. I just think that when McCaskill was coming in, she's shorter, she's ducking, and she's coming up into her arms. And really the women, their arms were just tangled. The fight actually was a pretty good fight. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it much better than the first fight. There was more action in this fight, and there just wasn't really that zombie-like coming forward and falling into each other's arms. Now let's talk about what happens from here. Let's start with Jessica. Her trainer said that at one point there's $1 million sitting across the ring, and of course he's talking about Katie Taylor. If you get a rematch with Katie Taylor, well, we go overseas, and there's $1 million possibly to fight her. She also mentioned Clarissa Shields, that if Clarissa, now I'm going to be honest, I do like something that McCaskill said. She said if Clarissa wants to come down to 47 and she can make the weight, maybe we can make that happen. That's very smart of her. It's very smart. It wouldn't have been wise for her to say, hey, I'm willing to fight anybody. I can go down to 140. I'll fight at welterweight. I'll go up to junior middleweight. See, that would have been a mistake because then she would have been going up closer to where Clarissa is. But she said if Clarissa wants to come down, we can make the fight happen. But probably more likely the next fight is going to be Katie Taylor. As for Cecilia, I don't really know what's next for Cecilia. Yes, I do think that she won this fight, but I'm seeing, and if you follow me, in the last 2 or 3 fights with Cecilia, I have said this. Cecilia is starting to look her age. The woman who was once sharp and who was the queen of the pound for pound queen of boxing is no longer. She does still have her skills, but she was walking into way too many looping rights and looping lefts that Jessica was throwing. She had no head movement. She just really just seems to kind of be stuck in the way. If you understand what I'm saying, she still has it in her mind, but her body is not reacting the way it once did. Not to mention in this fight, she was throwing a good right hand, but she wasn't following up. She wasn't throwing a good quick left hook like she once did with that straight right hand. It was just basically right hand, step back, right hand, fall in, left hook, fall in. There wasn't those 2, 3, and 4 punch combinations she once threw. Personally, what I would like to see for Cecilia is for her to go back to Norway, get one more fight as a farewell and be done with it. I don't want to see her fight Clarissa because she may actually get hurt in that fight. And I don't see the reason at this point for her and Jessica to fight a third fight. Other than that fight, fans, what did you think about the fight? Did you enjoy the fight? Were you entertained by the fight? Do you agree with me? Do you think Cecilia won the fight? Am I wrong by thinking she won the fight? Or even if you thought Cecilia lost, was the fight actually closer? I think I might not have been too upset if the fight was a little closer, but for Jessica to had won 9 or 10 rounds, I just thought that was too wide. But listen, maybe you all think I'm wrong. Let me know what you think. Give me a comment. Other than that, fight fans, like and subscribe, and I'll holler at y'all after this Estrada Gonzalez fight. That's all I got. Holler at y'all later.